Hey there, FloridaMan40k fans. Welcome back to another hot, fresh episode of FloridaMan40k. I'm Jimmy Prescott. Here with me today is John, ever the optimist Lennon.
Yes. Everything is awesome.
And then also Dan, pessimistic bitch Smith.
What's up from your third favorite co-host, guys? How are y'all doing today?
Those were perfect follow-up, boys. We have plenty of stuff to talk about now. Last time, it was pretty much just talking about what we think or hope might happen with the newly announced 9th edition. Since that time, we've gotten a little bit of info about new armies, new rules from 9th, so it seems like we'll have a pretty good discussion. How do we want to start it off?
Yeah, so I'm thinking we'll just start with what we know from 9th edition. So far, what's been released, what's been teased, all that good stuff. Maybe some speculation, because, that's always fun. And then I want to talk about Admech, because I'm getting a new Admech army. So that's going to be what I want to talk about, so I know if I'm making a good investment or not. So, with all that being said, Lennon, I know you actually care about the game and have been paying attention to the leaks. I know Jimmy has not, and I barely have. So, you start it, and Jimmy and I will just hot take.
I would also say barely. Don't discredit me too much.
Okay, fine.
I'm on the barely train.
All right. So, board got smaller. That was something that had been kind of like in the background of rumors, but everyone, and by everyone I mean like the people who are just nameless people on the internet, have said, oh, GW will never do that. Yeah, GW did it. The board is going to 60 by 44 inches, and that's going to be a thing. And a lot of people are like, it's a minimum. You can just play on a 6x4 still. And those people will die alone in their mother's basements.
No.
We're playing on a 60 by 44 now.
Okay.
I don't want to lie to you guys.
So that wasn't actually the change that I thought. I thought it was going, and I only heard that they were changing the dimensions. I thought it was going to become like a 48 by 48 scenario. Like just a square.
Or a square.
Huh? Not a square?
Huh?
Okay.
Okay.
Do we know why? Like, because that's just making it a smaller rectangle, which I know there's always value in saving space for tournaments and stuff like that. But that seems like a little bit of weird dimensional change. Do we have any insight on why or what that might do?
I do, and by insight I mean maybe speculation, maybe facts behind it. No one will actually confirm it because that's just GW being secretive. Supposedly, it's 1, make the game faster. 2, make the game more accessible. Smaller board means faster games because you just start close to each other. So there's going to be less turns of staring at each other across no man's land. Like you're just going to be, getting in each other's guts pretty quickly. Other than that, I think that a slightly smaller board is going to be easier for non-diehard fans to acquire. Supposedly 44 inches is like the average width of a dining room table or some shit. I don't know. I don't actually have a dining room table. I have a 1-bedroom apartment and I eat at my painting table. So I don't know what the average size of a dining room table is, but supposedly 44 inches is it. And I guess that makes sense. I've played on someone else's dining room table before and we just kind of played with slightly shorter deployment zones. So maybe the 4 inches is going to make a difference. I think GW's logic was they wanted people to be able to play at home. So just so that more people could play the game, which logically that makes sense to me. Smaller boards you'll also be able to fit more of at a tournament, more of in a game store. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So one thing to roll back just a little bit, with the new dimensions, that's what everyone's going to play because as we've talked about before, the game needs to become more standardized. If you end up with events with variable table size, that's a step in the wrong direction. This is the new size. We want to play a standardized game. That's the size you're going to use because that's the size Games Workshop is designing and balancing the game around, what all the playtesters are using. So it is what it is. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you'll play 3rd edition or 4th edition with your 3 friends who still hold on to that.
No. Yeah, because there's already enough chaos in the tournament scene when everybody's got different terrain and stuff scattered across the board, and you've got a light or heavy terrain scenario. If they're also trying to change the dimensions between events, it's going to make it really hard to plan your entry.
They haven't given us as much detail about terrain, but my understanding is that everything is getting more standardized. Adepticon, Nova, and Frontline Gaming, who are in charge of the big three of United States big tournaments, all have said new table size, and they've all said that they're using the GW missions. In addition to that, the Capital City Bloodbath, which I think is the largest event in Canada, the WTC, former ETC, have also said new GW missions, new table size. And if the WTC does something, then literally every tournament in Europe and some parts of Asia and Australia will do that exact same thing. So I think you can safely say if it is a relevant tournament, it's going to be on the new size. Maybe there will be ones in other parts of the world that I'm not familiar with, and while I'm sure that's relevant over there, it is not relevant to us in the United States meta.
But people have said that 9th edition GW missions are, like, they partnered with the ITC to form that, right? So it's going to be, like, we're expecting it to be actually competitive, not like the weird narrative stuff they've had previously.
Oh yeah, no, they've shown off one mission so far. They look like they're going to be kind of similar to Nova missions, maybe. But like Nova missions also are inherently similar to ITC ones. But yeah, the TO of Adepticon, the TO of Nova, or the CEO, Mike Brandt, and then all the the Frontline Gaming guys, they're all playtesters. They've all had their their hands in the jar when it comes to writing the missions. So I think you can pretty safely say that these are not your grandpappies GW missions. They actually look good. Like the one that they've shown us has progressive scoring. It has secondaries, aka it has everything we use in ITC already. So I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I just wonder if it'll be as adaptive as the ITC has been in the past, because they change things a lot more often than GW changes their core rules. So I wonder how they're going to address mission changes for competitive if everybody agrees to use GW missions.
I'm guessing it'll kind of come in chapter approved. Like they already put out missions in chapter approved. They just were old GW style, so no one cared. But like it makes sense. Like they need content for the book. They've put 6 missions into every chapter approved so far. It's just that we've been using ITC ones, we haven't paid attention. I'm assuming that they will update or replace or tweak or whatever them in each chapter approved to kind of keep them fresh.
Okay.
This just means that we're getting all our changes at the same time.
Yeah. And then this is one other thing that is less about what we know and what we expect and more about like the history of GW. But wasn't the ITC originally formed as a moderator of GW? And isn't it now kind of partnered with GW? So it's turned more into like a sect of them to help write rules? Is that right? As far as how the relationship developed?
Okay, so to the best of my understanding, and I'm not internal on this, so maybe I'm getting something wrong here. The ITC started off as GW did literally nothing with the tournament scene. And a bunch of guys in like the California area who wrote a couple of tournaments just kind of made their own mission pack the same way that the Nova Open and the Adepticon and Renegade Open all made their own missions. But then the ITC guys also compiled an FAQ to use at all their events, and everyone loved having the FAQs written down because GW, you got an FAQ every 3 years or so. It was awful. So people had started being like, okay, we're just going to do our own thing. We're going to use this document that the ITC guys made. This was like 6 years ago. Probably more than that, actually. So people just kind of started referencing that. And then once they started adding the point system, it really took off like kind of end of 7th. I think end of 7th is when that actually took off. Because I remember like that's when I actually noticed that I was getting ITC points. Which was about the same time BCP got popular. Since that point, Reese and Frankie became playtesters when 8th edition was being developed, to my knowledge. Still, like, the ITC is separate from GW in that Games Workshop, the company, doesn't really own anything ITC. However, just the fact that some of their playtesters are responsible for running it means that there's going to be a healthy convergence of ideas. We know that GW is planning on being a lot more involved in the tournament scene. They hired Mike Brandt to be in charge of their events arm or Mark Branch, whatever. Mike Branch is the guy who, created and ran the Nova Open, which is historically the most successful Warhammer tournament because it's been very large for a long time. It's a massive convention, and then they've been running it for longer than any of the big FLG ones. So a very well respected tournament. And they brought him on, and he's saying, oh yeah, there's going to be a whole ton of new awesome things. And GW does always say that, but I'm going to choose to be an optimist here and say that GW would get involved in the competitive scene. I don't know what that means for the ITC, but I've talked to Reese and Frankie very lightly about it, and they said, yeah, the ITC is sticking around for all of 9th edition. So I'm guessing that's the plan. I don't know. I don't know if GW is going to try to work more closely with the tracking people's rankings part, but it sounds like GW will be more involved in the tournament scene, more involved in tournament balance, something, great things coming that you guys can't even imagine. I'm told that I can't imagine it, so I'm sure my guesses would be wrong. And supposedly ITC will still exist. That's kind of what I know. And you know what, even if, I don't know, maybe Games Workshop is this whole ranking system thing is awesome and it gets people motivated, we're going to buy it. I don't know if that's a thing that could happen. I don't even know how that would work, but maybe GW decides to run it. Then it would be the exact same thing with a different name, probably.
No, if GW owned it, you'd have to pay $20 a month subscription to get access or some shit. I should have introduced myself as the pessimist. I have so many bad expectations.
You are such a pessimist. God, you are both just so difficult to work with. I love you both.
I'm so sorry. But yeah.
No. We need balance.
The last word that I would... Yeah, it's almost well, okay, let's not get into that realm, but GW, the last word that I would use for GW, one of the last word, I'm pretty sure I have several, but attentive. I would definitely say GW is not attentive. If they get into the competitive scene, I feel like if they are the only ones who are in charge of it, I think you're going to end up seeing something else form again. If the ITC or that realm doesn't adapt, I think they've been great. But if suddenly GW gets on top of it, I think historically their mission and rules writing and stuff have kind of been shit without a middleman to kind of moderate it.
It has, but the fact that they have those people kind of working in-house now makes me more optimistic about it.
Yeah, and something could always happen. But if GW has their hands directly on it, that's what makes me skeptical. Not the other people involved, but if they're ringing them all in, it's just I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll see. But just the words of GW being more involved is kind of unfortunate for me. But of course, we don't know what's coming. So
if they do a better job than they have previously, if they do the same thing as they have in the past, they'll suck ass. But there's grounds to be optimistic. They've brought in people who have not been part of GW in the past. Again, Mike Brandt would be the primary example, who has been very influential in the overall tournament scene. Again, Nova is one of the best events that I've been to, and it is a very long-running and successful event. And I don't think it's ever had a bad run. LGT has had some bad years with terrain scams and stuff. I don't think Nova has ever been oh yeah, this year was a little down. So I would hope that with someone experienced like that running this part of the ship, that they would manage to not fuck it up.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm gonna be an optimist here to balance out Jimmy.
This is why we need balance, because of course,
perfectly balanced. That's all things should be. I think it'll be different. It'll be new, but everyone who has spoken about it has spoken optimistically, and I think that they would be optimistic about it no matter what, but they're also the kind of people that would actually make sure it's good when they do it.
Yeah.
Whatever is coming down the pipeline, Reese and Frankie, the whole frontline gaming crew is aware of, Mike Brent obviously is aware of, he's running the damn ship now. So I'll assume that they're doing it right.
Yeah.
But, that's more future of 9th edition stuff. I'll talk about what we know about 9th edition. And tanks.
I got something I know about
tanks.
9th edition.
You know that we're going to love it and spend way too much money no matter how good or bad it is?
Yes, but that's not what I was going to say.
It's sadly true.
What I was going to say is we know that the measurement of the kill team boards is 30 by 22. You put 4 of them together and you get 60 by 44. That's the thing we know. So that's all. That's all I have.
Yeah, it's 4 kill team boards. If you, God bless your heart, actually bought kill team. Good for you.
Dan's just over here doing math while we're arguing about the history of GW.
I mean,
you know, we had to give him a couple minutes. It's very difficult for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just don't like the whole talking over each other thing, so I just figured I'd shut up till I had a chance. And even still, there's some talking over that happened. But if you just want to put your tinfoil hat on, it's Games Workshop encouraging people to buy 4 kill team mats that somehow all look good shoved together. Just like they did with the Realm of Battle boards that everyone hates, that dice never land flat, and they
oh my god, I do hate those things so much.
Super expensive. So
but
go ahead.
I mean, this also tells you that Games Workshop has probably been planning this board change since they made Kill Team.
Or they made Kill Team, and then they're like, you know what we should do, guys?
Make more money.
I highly doubt anyone was reacting to Kill Team. Also, I honestly doubt that the point of this is to make us buy Kill Team boards, because it's going to be third-party sector immediately.
Yeah, and they're going to be, they're going to have new FLG mats and all that stuff to the new specifications.
Yeah, I'm being an idiot. I absolutely.
Table war mats, frontline gaming mats. I'm sure GW will make a new Realm of Battle board that is actually made of skulls, so that a dice cannot land flat on it. Like, it's physically impossible.
Unless you buy one of their custom dice, which has little indentations that are like skulls.
So that it can land.
Yeah, so it'll land perfectly every time by some GW magic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh god, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Skull eyes. But yeah, no, I'm sure we'll get those soon. And if not, all right, 1, shut up and cut your mat. 2, go to a Michael's or a fabric store. You know, if you live anywhere near white people, there's a fabric store somewhere around you. Go buy some felt for $2. Put out the outline of a 60 by 44 and lay it over your mat, and it'll be fine.
But then it doesn't look good.
But it also doesn't look bad, and we're going to be buying a mat. We're probably going to have mats by the time we have events anyway, so screw it.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the width was changing. I thought it was going to be like I had said, 48 by 48, and then you said 60. Even that wouldn't be bad because you could just tape off part of the mat. But now my table is also getting more narrow. I'd have to cut a whole new table to be able to keep track of that easily. God damn.
Or you just keep the table and tape off 2 inches.
Just yeet the table, the whole thing.
Yeet the table.
And then get a new one.
Yeah.
Buy a new, freshly unyeeted table.
Yes. People have also made jokes like, "Oh, just wait till Games Workshop makes it 6 by 4 in 10th edition." And to that, I say, I don't care if you held on to your blast templates; they're gone forever, no one misses them.
I'll keep the pieces of my yeeted table. That way, I can put it back together whenever it converts back.
It's yeet or be eaten.
Yeet. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I like it. There have been rumors that tri-pointing is going away, so all the melee players are crying because the game's going to be more shooting. But if you're getting closer, it's just easier to go punch someone.
Yeah, and honestly, the changes that we've seen, or at least the changes that we're able to speculate, in my opinion, it seems to be leading more towards some type of melee presence. They said that they were overhauling melee, right?
I've heard rumors that, melee is changing a lot. But I don't know what it means.
Well, at least the
no one
obscuration.
will tell me actual rules,
Yeah.
I'm friends with a couple playtesters, and unfortunately I appear to only be friends with the ones that care about the NDAs.
No.
I know where everyone else is getting their rumors from. Someone's talking. But all the ones I know are being nice. To GW, they're not being nice to me. So I got nothing there.
Okay.
So, real fast, to jump on in and completely talk about the previous topic, there, in a 2-minute Google search or Amazon search, there is blue painter's tape that's exactly 2 inches wide. So if you run that on either side of your board long ways, that gets you from 48 down to 44. So 2 strips of tape, there's gonna, and it completely covers it. So your long sides are just gonna have a border. To do your short side, they actually make 6-inch wide painter's tape, which is just something I didn't know, but that's a thing now that we know. So you could get 6-inch wide rolls of painter's tape to tape off either side if you really wanted. Or
you buy one roll of 6-inch, one roll of 2-inch, and you just zip.
Yeah, and then you have like a thick border that's super obvious and noticeable, or you can just use the 2-inch painter's tape and have little 4-inch gaps that look whatever. But yeah, so if you don't want to cut your mat, you can literally buy a 2-inch wide roll and a 6-inch wide roll, border it off. You can even cut your tape at corners. You know how to do that making terrain 10 years ago when you were 12 years old. You cut your corners just right. You set it together. You got a pretty border. You're done.
So it sounds like this problem could be solved for like $5.
A 3-pack of 2-inch painter's tape is, I got a back because I was on the product description. Dang it, how did I lose that? Anyways,
it's not an incredible amount of money, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
You know,
like you can just buy that and take care of a tournament. Done.
$5 for a roll of tape.
Approximately.
Yeah.
You know what? I refuse to be reasonable, but that is a really good idea. Also, I know people do that kind of stuff for Legion, right? You've got like little...
Yeah, I literally have little rollouts for Legion.
And you could put your cards and everything in those little spots because they play on a 36-inch table. So for our 48 width, you have like 6-inch deployment areas for your cards, and then it limits the battlefield. So yeah, we're like gamers are usually already used to doing something like that.
What if someone just makes like a fat mat material, like a neoprene mat that's 4 foot by 1 foot? And it's like divided in two, and one side says casualties and one side says reserves.
That literally exists in Legion. They have 6-inch table board.
But I said it for 40k, so it's a new idea.
That's true. We could even put 40k in the corner. GW, slap that on there. Is that idea free, John? I don't want to sell your idea.
You know what? Copyright right now. Let's go.
Okay, GW, that idea is not free. Contact us, FloridaMan40k@gmail.com.
Yes.
Is that our Gmail?
Or just take it out. Like that would be really easy and cool. Like if someone did that, that'd be awesome. Like I would buy one of those, or I'll just buy new mats. Either or.
If you want, I can reach out to the guy that makes the mats for Legion and see if he'll do it for 40k. Because like, I somehow got super connected in the Legion community like a year ago and just like met a bunch of people.
All right, so whoever's listening, if you want to buy one of these fancy mats that John just came up with, FloridaMan40k@gmail.com.
That's not a real address.
It is actually. I made that.
Is it actually? You made it?
But nobody checks it. So
I don't either.
We needed an email address to connect our YouTube to, so that was easy enough.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Cool.
Right, so, for the first time in 6 months.
All right.
Yeah. To follow up, guys, I did look at the price for 6-inch wide rolls of painter's tape. That is slightly more expensive. They're between $12 to $40, depending on how much you want to splurge.
Okay, but like, think if you're running a GT.
Yeah, you spend $60 in tape and you have all your tables done.
Yeah, that's fine. And especially if you're running a GT in the next 6 months and you're thinking to yourself, "Gee, I don't want to buy all these new mats," and also, "Gee, I don't want to cut up my mats because then they'll shrink or I'll mess it up and then it won't look good." I don't know. Maybe you have shaky hands.
You know what else you could do though? You've
been snorting a lot of cocaine. Don't cut your mats.
You can save that $40, $12 to $40, that large margin, buy a nice bottle of wine and just mourn the loss of 8th edition instead.
Like the people that mourn fantasy, no one cares about them anymore.
Yeah, I know. I'm kidding.
Fantasy being gone still makes me sad.
It's apparently coming back eventually, right? There was like a little blog that was teasing that.
So Forge World said, like, in a few years, Forge World's going to do the old worlds.
No, nobody wants to deal with Forge World. Jeez.
But yeah, so that's a good teaser for our next, maybe not next, but in some point in the next month or two, we're going to do a farewell to 8th edition podcast. And I support the idea of Lennon drinking a glass of wine, Jimmy drinking a bottle of wine.
I'm already doing that right now. Got a nice bottle of Malbec for a Tuesday afternoon.
Why would I do that? Don't need wine to be stupid.
Oh.
Come on.
It's not to be stupid, it's to be classy.
That's right.
Oh, well, it'll take more than wine.
Yeah, I know. Like, you're the reason this is a Florida Man podcast instead of a Classy Man podcast.
that cocaine you were talking about a moment ago.
No, cocaine was hurt in making of this episode.
But my nostrils were.
Oh, Jesus.
Someone's getting a knock at the door.
Yeah.
All right. I swear it was Jimmy. It was all Jimmy.
Jimmy has a heart condition. He literally can't do cocaine. He'll die.
I was told that at a bachelor party once.
You can't do it twice.
That's true. You can't do it twice, Jimmy.
You can't do it twice if you're dead the first time.
That was the point.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, wow. All right, so there were other 9th edition rules, I think?
Yeah, so far we've only talked about the deployment changes, or the...
Dang it, guys. I'm trying to talk.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, it's too late now. Y'all go ahead.
You know what? It's hard to see social cues from a blank computer screen.
I know. It's just more you guys... I don't know if you hear me or not, but you just both talk over me.
All right, Dan. Let's have a moment of silence for Dan.
Okay, a moment of silence.
No,
I'm taking part.
Yeah,
taking part in the moment.
You got to talk during the moment of silence.
No, I was going to say what you guys are both going to say, and that's just that there are new rules that have been previewed, and we got a Engine War Psychic Awakening release that we can talk about.
Ooh.
That's all. You guys go ahead.
You know, I love
outburst.
engines.
Rev up your engine, boys.
Mm.
So I think like actually the biggest rule preview that they have put out since the last episode probably would be the darn the vehicle changes. So only infantry take a heavy penalty. So bikes, battle suits, vehicles, monsters, all of those things don't take heavy penalties anymore. It is good for many units for a wide variety of reasons. Ridge Runners! No, some vehicles already ignored heavy, and for some reason, some Admech players are salty because they already ignored the heavy penalty on most of their stuff, and now they just ignore it anyway, and they're salty about this. And Reggie, I'm aiming this directly at you with absolutely no love. There's a little bit of love. Don't be salty because you got rules that you already had. Be glad that you got one of the best Psychic Awakenings that we've had so far. Actually, Admech might have gotten the best Psychic Awakening so far. Got that whole thing of like, we gave you new units and we gave you new rules. Like Tau got new rules that were all awesome. Admech also got new units in addition to all of the good new rules. It's like, I think most of the Psychic Awakenings that we've gotten so far haven't come with new rules, or haven't come with new models. Like, not a large amount of them. Like, everyone's gotten their random character in the book, and if that wasn't for your faction, you know, fucking egg.
The Tyranids.
Oh yeah, sorry, you got Mephisto and Shadow Sun Tyranid Gene Circle players. Enjoy. That's true, don't you? But actually, like, Admech got the best Psychic Awakening ever, so Admech players, don't be salty. You'd be happy.
But
I think most Admech players are happy. Just, I'm calling out Reggie here.
While celebrating your new rules changes, Admech players also prepare to be outclassed by Necrons, who are probably getting way more models, as well as their Psychic Awakening, right? And then...
Necrons look like they're getting like the full Sister of Battle. We are revamping everything in your army because it kind of looks like trash.
But without knowing anything about what they are getting yet, Admech still has the benefit of being Imperium, which we know usually gets the best of the shtick.
Yeah, it means that if they're bad, they get fixed more quickly. That's what that means. Like,
or if they're really good, they get nerfed less quickly.
Oh my god, yeah.
And Necrons...
Nerf that crap next week.
Yeah, Necron's going to come out average, and then they're not going to get a change for 4 years.
Let's give Iron Hands a couple months just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case it balances out by itself. Get out of here. Yeah, so I think that Admech got really good stuff. I think actually, let's go back to the vehicle stuff. So vehicle stuff. You can shoot into combat with the unit you're shooting at. If you do, heavy weapons get -1 to hit, and you cannot fire blast weapons. We don't know what blast weapons are yet, but if you look at things that were template weapons back in 7th edition, that's probably not a terrible implication of what it will be. So I'm guessing that something like a battle cannon is probably a blast weapon, or a demolisher cannon, almost certainly a blast weapon. Basically, if it's like a random number of shotgun that is not like also an auto hit weapon, it's probably a blast weapon. I'm 99% sure you're going to be able to fire flamers in combat, because I think they specifically mentioned, like, yep, this gives you a good reason to actually take heavy flamers on your Lehman Russ, because quite frankly, that isn't a thing that I've ever done ever, and I have several Lehman Russ. I think I have like 5. But yeah, you actually being able to shoot in combat means getting tagged is not a death sentence. And you can split your fire to shoot some out of combat, provided that your first shots kill what you're in combat with. You kind of have to make a gamble and say, am I putting enough in to kill it? Because if you, like, let's say your Ridge Runners put all of their heavy stubbers into an orc unit in combat with them, and then they put all their las cannons downfield into a truck. You roll all the stubbers. If you kill all the orcs, you shoot the las cannons. If you don't kill all the orcs, you aren't able to shoot out of combat, so the las cannons get wasted, or mine lasers. So that's kind of a cool mechanic. I'm secretly hoping that they put the same thing in for characters, so that if a knight is being stared down by Guilliman and 1 guardsman, you can just put a little bit into the guardsman instead of the entire knight. You know, like, I'm really hoping that that's a thing as well. But that's just speculation on my part and optimism. But yeah, buffs for vehicles, they ignore heavy universally. They can shoot in combat. And then they can even shoot out of combat in certain scenarios as well. That makes an army of non-flying vehicles, Kopkov Admech, extremely strong. But don't worry, they also gave Admech a bunch of other buffs. Admechs have the best warlord traits in the game, by the way. That's a thing. Like, the absolute best warlord traits in the game. I don't know if you guys have read these things yet. Silence to me implies that you haven't.
Nope.
Yeah. So part of me, I thought that was a rhetorical question to the listeners, and part of me was distracted looking at the Admech line, seeing what's still in stock, because I know I got to make some orders.
Pitter patter, get at her. It's going to be sold out pretty quick.
Two of the start collecting boxes I have coming from a very reliable source, so I'm hoping that he orders those soon. You know. But I also need to get the 3rd start collecting box and some Cerberus Raiders, and I don't know. I want an army of Dragoons, but they're expensive. So I don't know.
Oh, but the Dragoons got so good. Or the Ballistari, one of the two. One of those two got really good.
Yeah, like, I think the Dragoon was already good. We are getting that nerf to stacking modifiers to hit, so I don't know if the Dragoon, like the Styges Dragoon just doesn't exist anymore. You just either give up Styges and...
Yeah, I mean...
Or, like... I mean, and the scout move is still super good, so you can just soup anyway. But you might... I don't know... well... Yeah, I have to read more.
Styges does more cool stuff now. Their canticle is fall back and shoot at -1 to hit. But then the way they have described the negatives or modifiers working is that if you have multiple modifiers, you go to the net before you apply the max of 1. So if you're -2 to be hit, like a Styges Stabby Walker, then Stabby Walker, then your opponent is +1 to hit because they have, I don't know, one of the 5, they have prescience up. That will cancel out to a net -1 before you apply the max of -1. So having -2 has some benefits. Like, if your opponent is +1, you just don't care. You get to ignore that. Or if they're +2 and you're -3 somehow, I don't know it's going to be -3 anymore, but hey, it's possible. You can just keep canceling it out until you get down to max of -1. So, like, it's not worthless to be Styges. They get a scout move. That fall back and shoot canticle with Styges is very useful if you don't want to shoot at the stuff in front of you and you have a reason to use that. But also the general warlord traits, the generic ones, are so good. I just hate how big
Yeah.
they are.
And didn't Admech got some custom as well, right?
They got custom mechanicals. They didn't get custom warlord traits. They basically got 2 pages of stratagems, crap ton of new units, warlord traits from the gods, and then all the warlord traits are generic. And then they just got like a page of new canticles, and the new canticles are also amazing.
Yeah, I'm loading it on my my PDF right now, so I can read some of the kind of the highlights.
So to give the quick version before Dan reads, you get 4 warlord traits with Admech, and basically at the beginning of your turn, not battle round turn, you look at your warlord trait and you pick one of 3 effects to be used. So each warlord trait is 3 warlord traits, and you pick one of them at the beginning of the turn. So, like, one of the best ones, I think, is Fall Back and Shoot, is an aura. And again, that's amazing because you can fall back and shoot with all of your stuff that is ignoring a heavy penalty. So you're not taking any negatives to hit. You get to shoot what you were in combat with. You get to shoot things downfield. You don't have any restrictions in that. And that's awesome. But also, it's like, well, sometimes you're not in combat. Maybe you have to fall back and shoot once out of 6 turns, or 5 turns, or 7 turns, whatever the hell it ends up being. But then you get to, for the other turns, like beginning of your turn, check, are any of my vehicles in combat? No? Okay, I don't need to fall back and shoot. I'm going to instead do extra AP within half range. So now your 48-inch auto cannons are AP2 at 24 inches. And you ignore the heavy penalty, so you can just move up into that 24 spot. You pop your different type of priest manipulus to give plus 6-inch range. Now you have to be within 27 inches after you move without a heavy penalty. So you're golden, like you're getting in range. And then you can just kind of decide to pop the Skitarii plus to hit stratagem kind of when you need to. God, Skitarii have so many good, accurate ways to hit. They have +1 to hit for the flyer, +1 to hit for Scorpius, and +1 to hit that applies to anyone, or +2 to hit if they happen to have the weird warrior piece, the leadership buff, data link, hard drive thing. Like super easy ways to spend command point, become accurate Admech. Plus access to call rerolls. Oh, it's also good.
Yeah. Sorry. What I was talking about as well, in addition to the generic warlord traits, is the new Forge World dogmas. And
oh yeah.
They're set up. They're set up a little bit different than the like previous successor chapters. You pick a primary, and then there's an option of 3 secondaries you can take. And like it's just a ton of really good options. Mars is still probably going to be one of the best, like just go to, because it's Mars, of course it is. But like, go ahead.
No, please. I've cut you off too many times.
Okay. One is like you just get a 6-up feeling of pain on all your vehicles as your primary, and then you can choose to either add 1 inch to move characteristics of your big troops and dune crawlers, or you can get Cognus weapons, rerolling the hit at half range, like those in addition to a 6-up feeling of pain on your vehicles. Or you can regain 1 wound a turn on vehicles, or if those 3 aren't enough, you also get the option to get exploding 5s and 6s on arc weapon. So like 6-up feeling of pain, and then one of these other 4 buffs on all of your vehicles from this custom dogma. Like, I guess that's an option I can look at. That's literally adding like 20 or 30 potential rules to my army.
Yeah. And like, I think the custom traits are good. I think they're going to lose out to primary Forge Worlds, mostly because they don't get successor type rules, where like your Forge World is not associated with Mars or whatever it would be. So you don't get the Mars Canticle while being a successor or custom.
Right.
If you could do that, I'd probably look into it more, but realistically, the Mars Canticle, which I guess we should actually say what it is. The Mars Canticle is everything ignores heavy, which is immediately redundant because there will no longer be a unit in the Admech army that doesn't ignore heavy. The only heavy weapons that aren't on vehicles or that are on infantry are the Transuranic Arquebus, which cannot fire if it moves, just flat out. It doesn't take a penalty, it doesn't shoot, so that doesn't matter. And then the Rolly Boys who already ignore heavy. So that part is moot, but it's +1 strength to your heavy weapons, which is insanely good.
Especially because you have the stratagem to apply your canicles to one of your Mechanicus knights.
Yeah, you can give. So I feel like that's an FAQ thing because right now it's if you have a Mars Warlord, you get the Mars Canticle. While the Mars Canticle is active, you get this crap. But like right now, you could take a Styges Warlord, and then you get the Styges trait, and then your Mars detachment or your Gride detachment would also benefit from the Styges Canticle. I don't feel like that's intended, but maybe it is, and GW just wanted Admech to get some love.
I agree. I don't think it's intended, but I do think they will allow it will be to a Questor Mechanicus or Forge World unit is how I think it's going to be phrased. So
that would be pretty dope, but I honestly do want to have a +1 strength knight. So yes.
So that's what I'm thinking is it'll be like Mars will affect your knight and your Mars units. I think that's how they'll do it.
That'd be pretty cool. I'd be down.
That would be very strong, but still be thematic because otherwise, like, there's I guess some buffs to bringing a knight with Admech instead of as an Imperial Knight, but unless you get a little bit of extra love from the Admech, I don't know if it's worth what you give up.
Remember that the Lucius one gives +1 invul, so just keep that in mind before we give it to knights. And like right now they get it, but like +1 invul to your knights.
Yeah, well, rotate ion shields already caps at a 4-up, and like knights are capped at a 4-up invul. Like that's just going to be the.
Then you basically get rotate ion shields on a Castellan for 1 command point every turn.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty good. Like there's a reason we don't mess with that crap anymore.
Can't you just give a Castellan the Warlord trait and never have to spend a command point?
There were also knights in this book, by the way. There are new Knight Warlord traits that are also kind of appealing for a Castellan, where you wouldn't want to take Ion Bulwark. Like there's one where every random number of shot weapons, you roll an extra dice and discard the lowest. So it just makes
as good as the Chaos Knight one.
Okay, but we're talking about Chaos Knights next episode. We're actually probably going to talk about all Knights next episode.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to go through here. So yeah, Admech, incredibly strong. Gotta love them. Woof. The +1 strength on Mars, because it's so reliable with Call, you replace an existing litany. So you take Litany of the Electromancer because no one loves that or wants that, and you throw it out the window because it's the 2 option. Then you put the Mars Canticle into the 2 spot. Now you have Call in your army because you're playing Mars, you're taking Call. So you can add or subtract 1 from your Canticle roll. Your Mars, you get to roll 2 dice on the Canticle. So now you roll 2 dice. If either one of them is a 1, 2, or 3, you modify it into a 2, and then you become Mars Canticle. Once per game, you don't have to roll. So if it's like an important turn, you've got line of sight on a bunch of crap, you really want your shooting to go off, once per game, you just pick the Mars Canticle. So on the important turn, you'll get it.
Sure. Sorry, isn't there a stratagem too that lets you choose it a second time? So
yes,
twice per game, you just choose the Canticle you want, and then the other 4 turns you have
a 75% chance.
Yeah, thank you. 75%.
If you want to blow a command point on it, because yeah, I do. Want a command point for 50% shot of +1 strength for my entire army? Okay, then you go down to 87.5% chance.
Yeah, 88 freaking percent chance of just getting what you want. Yeah. Those are usually
that's a good command point to spend. And then worst case scenario, you go through that and it's the one time you still haven't gotten it and you've already picked it once and you still have a command point left, you just auto hard switch into the Mars Canticle.
Yeah. Well, and like there are other good Canticles too. So like, oh no, I didn't get the 1, 2, or a 3, but I got a 4, 5, or a 6 because that's basically the only other option. I guess technically 3, 4, 5. I guess if you roll double 4.
3, 4, 5 could become cover.
Yeah.
A 6 is the only thing that can't become either cover or, because really you want to be Shroud Psalm and whatever it's called. And Mars Doctrine for the entire game, honestly. The only result that doesn't give that is 6. and 6 is reroll once to hit and shooting. Like,
which is just a great army-wide buff anyway.
because Call is not going to reach your entire army. You know, he can only be in so many places at once, and you're going to have scattered Skitarii squads or flyers, you know, maybe going off the rails. So, like, if the worst thing you can do is give your spread out units reroll once to hit in the shooting phase, yeah, we're good.
Exactly.
So, it's gonna be wild. I'm excited. 100%.
So I need to
buy some Admech, boy. Power game time.
Yep. What's today? Tuesday? I know this will be going out on a Friday, but as the day of recording, it is a Tuesday. So, yeah, I get paid in 2 days, and that check is going to Admech.
Love it.
I mean, also my mortgage, but you know.
I don't know, Admech, mostly Admech. So I'm staying strong. My goal is to not buy Admech in 8th edition, not because I'm expecting a nerf, only to limit my spending, because I'm like just finishing up my Spit Sisters army, and I'm also still ordering a couple bits and pieces for my Marine army. And as part of the Art of War, we already have a fully painted Admech army owned by Mr. Siegler. So like I'll be able to play around with it when I want to. So I'm kind of like making myself wait while I finish off other projects, because I know I don't have a tournament coming up, and I will just be able to, you know, turn around and pick up the Admech army off the shelf when I want to play with it. So, you know, I don't have that immediate pressing need to get it, but I really want to. So I'm probably going to pick up a couple of those, start collecting boxes for myself. Having the troops and a Scorpius Disintegrator in it, mwah, so good. The new cavalry, awesome. The flying guys, absolutely amazing. Skitarii have great screens now. They're also just not punished nearly as harshly as they used to be for getting in combat. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways to give them, like, they're smaller buffs in combat, but you already have Electro Priests, which are just solid bully units. You add the horses, which are, well, I guess dogs, whatever they are. They have some pretty good combat. Rust Stalkers. I mean, you kind of know, like, Admech, they're not Gene Stealer called. They're not going to just, like, bonk you when they get there, but you can't just tag them and expect to be okay. Like, they do smack back.
The Robo horses, they just have a lot of dice. Like, they're not good attacks, but they do have like 3 to 4 attacks per model.
Yeah, and they do have AP1 on like 50% of their attacks. So AP1 in some armies literally don't care about it, but like against t-shirt saves or guard saves, like that AP1 is huge for just removing volume of bodies. Yeah,
like if you tag orcs into Admech vehicles, you're gonna get scooped up so fast. like that is just not a good combination. So it's pretty rough. Also, that Ballistari unit, the one with all the autocannons, can also shoot mortal wounds on 5-ups, which is actually cancerous.
Which one? The Chicken Walker?
Chicken Walkers. Add a +1 to wound stratagem, and then you do Wrath of Mars for mortal wounds on 6s.
Yeah, but how many shots is that unit putting out? I guess they're more mobile than the Rosies. Castellan robots. We call them Rosies because they look like Rosie the Robot to the uninitiated. But yeah.
The thing is that it's longer range, less expensive, and more mobile. It also isn't a Rosie. I actually hate Rosies. I know that other people love them, but I personally do not.
I just love that model. I have 6 of them sitting in a box waiting for Jimmy to build them. I also have a Knight new in box that is going to Jimmy for building them and some other stuff maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jim. How much are you going to build for me for that night?
I don't know.
On the spot, on record, now.
Man, I don't want to make any promises. Yeah, jeez.
The entire Admech army, everything I buy.
That'll take a while.
That would be a lot more than the night.
Admech is so thin and gangly.
Admech is spindly AF.
Especially with all the magnetization, because they're so freaking expensive.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no. Yeah, so Admech's gotten a lot of cool stuff. I'm very excited for the listed vehicle changes, because it will make so many things so much better in combat, or just in general. All of the dreadnoughts that are like studded with heavy stubbers, like the Victor Warsuits, getting to shoot in combat is amazing. Ignoring the heavy penalty on Redemptor dreadnoughts and Invictors is amazing. So many cool things. This makes Lehman Russ incredibly more viable. Even the generic Russ, slap heavy flamer turrets on these things, and they do become just incredibly difficult to mess with. So I am excited about that. I do own a guard army that I'm working on expanding. One of my recent projects has been, again, painting my sisters and my guard up to standard. I painted up a Lehman Russ and some Seraphim this weekend. I've got a couple more Lehman Russ I need to do probably next weekend. So we'll certainly be getting that done pretty quickly. I'm going to buy 2 more Lehman Russ just to make sure I own enough of them. I figure now's the time to be investing in those tanks. I'm sure they're going to go out of stock once that drops. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah,
that's all I had.
Sorry
was
for the
for someone else.
awkward pause there. There's a lot I can ramble on about Admech, just from a design perspective. So I'm going to, because I have guest hostage for a few more minutes. But so I know a lot of people have kind of given crap to like the Archaeopters, and the Taraxi. I think
those are awesome. Yeah.
I love that style. It's like the old Da Vinci, artwork, just
the flying machine.
Ripped off and put onto Games Workshop models. I think that looks great. I like it. It's always been kind of the steampunk army, but they didn't fully embrace it on a lot of their design. They kind of halfway did it. They absolutely, the Cerberus units are just entirely, straight up steampunk. Mechanical dogs that you're riding into battle. It's just super cool.
I feel like they're supposed to be horses, but I'm not really sure.
They're literally sulfur hound. They're dogs.
Okay, but the other ones, the Raiders, those ones look like horses. The Raiders are the better one. I don't like the silver hounds as much.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Anyways, not the point. The point is, they look great. We did get the Tech Priest Manipulus, whatever. His name is spelled weird. They did release him as a separate blister pack now, so that's easy to get. He looks kind of meh, whatever. He's kind of fat. I know we've had that model for a while. I'm just looking at the range right now. But yeah, just the new aesthetic, I really like it. I've always kind of liked Admech. I owned them in 7th edition when they had the ridiculous formation that lets you get 500 points of upgrades for free. I did not paint them. I did not want to attempt to paint them. The army I had when it was no longer good, getting new stuff, trying to match paint job, all that, I just couldn't do it. So I sold the army. And I've been sad about that for a couple of years. So I'm getting back into it and I'm going to keep them this time. Still not going to paint them. I'm going to probably try to get Jimmy to for me. And yeah, that's about all I got.
All right. I think that covered all of my thoughts. I know we got a little rambly there because we were all excited. But it is nice to be excited about 40K again. I know there was a dark couple months in there where, we knew a 9th was coming, but we didn't have any rules and when no one was playing events. Yeah. But it's good to be back in excited mode.
Absolutely. And hopefully we can get a bunch of events going because we had a ton of momentum in the competitive scene, really through all of 8th edition. And then it just got slammed because of this, the coronavirus. But hopefully as we get back to being able to do these events and it's socially responsible to do so, that's my favorite part of the game is besides having the cool models on my shelves is going to events, hanging out with the guys. So I am very much ready to get back into doing that. And I hope we pick up right where we left off with just awesome events all over the world, really.
Mm-hmm. I'm optimistic. I think the first big event is going to be SoCal. Pending other changes in current virus situation, we'll see what the large amount of people being outside in the United States over the last 2 weeks we'll see what that does as far as a potential second wave. Hopefully not. Hopefully everyone's been wearing their masks and trying to be safe. But if events start coming back, I know that San Diego is currently in like phase 3 of the reopening process, and they're very much expecting to be on phase 4 before October rolls around. Because, the SoCal Open is in over 4 months. So, like, I think that's far enough away, the way things are currently trending, that we can confidently expect to be able to attend it. So, if the SoCal Open happens, I certainly will be going. I'll probably buy my plane ticket this month while I'm not spending money on events or 9th edition. Kind of with the, the built-in, like, I'll pay the extra $20 for flight insurance in case I need to cancel and I won't reserve a hotel yet. Or if I do, I'll make sure it's a refundable one. But it sounds like, just through the grapevine, Nova seems a little iffy. Like, it might happen, it might not. It's in a little less than 3 months. But I think that end of October is a more safe, it'll probably happen. You guys should come up to SoCal with me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, I'd do it. I would like to go. Part of the goal when all of this was like in the middle of the swing was to kind of go to every major event, and that definitely qualifies. But I guess we have to see when and how all of this resolves.
There's a lot of unknowns still, but if there's hope for the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm going to be my optimistic self and say that I am very excited to get back to tournaments.
Yeah. Even just like little local RTTs and stuff, like just getting out, playing the game, and relaxing for a day. Like, I'm about that.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's all I had.
Same.
Me as well.
All right. Well, in that case, I would say that you can expect to hear from us again relatively soon. The leaks are coming fast and furious. Probably by the next episode, we will have access to the new Custody / Death Guard / Fabulous Bill Assassins. I painted a Vindicator because I've had one for like 3 years unpainted. So I want to use him again. We'll have new rules soon. Second Awakening are coming fast and furious. You can kind of make an educated guess that since they've put out 2 of the remaining 3 Psychic Awakenings, that they're probably going to do all 3 before they release 9th. So that would put 9th edition sometime in July. So, like, not too close, but it's also not too far either. Like, it could happen. Look at how fast April went. We could be in July tomorrow. So, but we can hope. We can hope that we'll be getting 9th edition soon.
Yeah, and hopefully we get some cool Custodes rules, because I have Custodes army sitting in my room. Just like
you have every army sitting in your room. Literally everyone.
I got rid of my Necrons.
Yeah. But I have Necrons, so it makes up.
There you go.
And I got lucky. I kind of gambled that Necrons were going to get a whole bunch of new models, so I figured it would be easier to sell early and then replace with the updated stuff if I decide to, than to try to sell late. So that's what I did.
If you're going to go buy those Necron models, they are looking good. But, alright. I think that'll wrap us up for the evening then. As always, I really appreciate everyone who came and listened to us. If you have not liked us on Facebook / followed us on YouTube / we are on multiple other podcast sites whose names I can't remember right now, you should do that. Like, subscribe. That's what the kids say. And someone's dog agrees.
Yeah, that's my dog. She decided she wanted to join in for the closing of this podcast.
There we go. All right.
Cool.
Have a good night.
So find us, like us, and hit us up, and we will.
We need like a catchphrase. An ending thing. Keep it icy.
Keep it balmy, like the Florida weather.
Keep it breezy, lemon squeezy.
I'm not going to say what I was going to.
Come on, throw it out. It's the end.
You know what? Maybe he shouldn't. I'm going to trust his judgment that I was going to be inappropriate.
Exactly.
I want to hear it after I hit stop recording.
You're going to keep recording. You know how you do
because we have been rambling.
All right. Have a wonderful night. Let's have a little jingle. FloridaMan40k. It's where you come every day. Goodbye.
That was amazing. See ya.
Thanks.